like to ask about China's 9-dash line. If we're going to look back at it, it was one of the nexus why we filed the case in the arbitral tribunal. The former government, during the bilateral talks with China, when Philippines reached out to China, China wanted the Philippines to recognize 9-9, which Philippines refused to because Philippines believed, the previous government believed that it was a precondition for bilateral talks. Now, one of the nexus of the file that Philippines, the case that we filed is for the tribunal to say that the 9-9 was baseless through the means of maritime entitlement. Now the question, particularly I wanted to ask to Ambassador Encomienda, after the ruling and both parties, China and the Philippines, wanted to do the bilateral talks, and China doesn't want to recognize the ruling. What if that 9-9 claim of China will still brought up again for the bilateral? What should the new government do, and how should he will deal with it?
Thank you for the questions, Ambassador Encomienda and the others. Yes, microphone.
I have, to be frank about it, I have a lot of reluctance to answer the question because a lot are speculative. For example, one part of it that you said that during a meeting in Duterte, I have no knowledge of that. I have not read much about it in the papers, so I would not want to comment on that. Then, in the matter of the 9-dash line, the way you framed your question, again, that is exactly what you said about the mindset related to Filipinos, that when the ruling comes down, it will definitely be in favor of the Philippines, and projecting from there, invalidating the 9-dash line. I think it's just too speculative. I don't want to look into that, especially when I set the tone. I adopted the tone of the President that between now and Tuesday, we observe silence. Just one comment on precisely, it has nothing to do with what the arbitration court will say, but our submissions to the arbitration court that shows you the complexity of the issue, even as far as the Philippines is concerned. The Philippines case in the arbitration court is not a clear-cut, unequivocal question of what the 9-dash line represents. Number one, what is clear about the Philippine submission is it is not about sovereignty, but don't forget our line was always what is ours is ours. But if we take that line on sovereignty, we cannot bring it to the Court of Arbitration under UNCLOS. It will have to be at ICJ, which China, of course, understandably won't accept. Now, to get an international court to be seized, to have confidence on the 9-dash line, the Philippines took the line, taking this court to the Philippine Court of the case to the Philippine Court of Arbitration as a question of interpretation of the UNCLOS in regard to maritime entitlements of those maritime geological formations in this stratosphere. And expecting that the court will support us all the way there, again, I don't want to speculate on what will come out of the court's decision, but following the Philippines line, the court might not even mention the 9-dash line, because the Philippines approach is to get the court to make a ruling on the characteristics of the maritime entitlements of those geological formations as a way of invalidating, impliedly invalidating the 9-dash line. So, as I said, going to your question, I'm glad you asked that, because that is really the whole point of my interventions this morning. That let's not take out the firecrackers and the fireworks and everything and the champagne for July 12th. because really there's no way of knowing whether it will be favorable to us or not. Number two, whether it will serve anything to solve those issues, I'm not sure. Granting it will solve the issue very neatly between Philippines and China, what about the other claimants? So we bring another arbitration case against Vietnam, and it won't be very easy because Ito Aba is there. So and let us project ourselves to the time, because this will happen when Taiwan will be either an autonomous region of China or even another province, will we bring another arbitration case against China over Ito Aba? Again, let me go back what happens to the claim of Vietnam, and especially Vietnam, because in 1975, Vietnam, then South Vietnam, grabbed Pugat Island from our Marines. So how do you settle that? Another arbitration against Vietnam over the territory? I cannot. It's very complicated, and I have to go through this again, although I tried to touch on it earlier, because I'm glad you asked that question, and gives me another occasion to drive home the point. Not to bring out the champagne, the fireworks, and everything as you like. Well, simply because we don't know how it will go. I even said that I am personally suspicious that the permanent court has settled this in 3.5 years, where it has part of the big issue is its competence, whereas other cases has taken, simpler cases have taken 4.5 years or 4 years. I suspect that there just might be a chance that under the arbitration rules, the permanent court will say it is impossible for us. The word impossible is in the rules of arbitration, that it is impossible for us to render a decision. Full stop. Thank you.
Thanks.